Hank Williams, Johnny Cash, Waylon Jennings, Merle Haggard. Those are the icons of country music that you hear today's country stars mention when asked about their greatest influence in music. But there's no doubt, you hear very little Hank Williams wailing or Johnny Cash's baritone in today's mainstream country music. In fact, what you hear, especially during the summer, sounds a lot more like Jimmy Buffett's beach vibes than anything resembling Waylon Jennings. Now, why is that? Just how big was Jimmy Buffett's influence on country music? Would country music be where it is today without him? And should Jimmy Buffett be enshrined into the Country Music Hall of Fame, as some have suggested? That's what we're going to discuss, and I definitely want to hear your thoughts, so be sure to let me know in the comments. Now, when Jimmy Buffett passed away on September 1st, condolences and tributes poured in from all over the world. But I was surprised at how many heartfelt tributes came from today's landlocked country stars like Kenny Chesney, Alan Jackson, Toby Keith, Zac Brown, Keith Urban. And these weren't run-of-the-mill tributes. Each of these had a sincere story about how Jimmy Buffett personally influenced them and their music. Then I found this article on Rolling Stone titled, "Jimmy Buffett was your favorite country singer's biggest influence." And this is what the article had to say. Probably the first time most country fans would recognize Jimmy Buffett's influence on country music was in 2003 when he teamed up with Alan Jackson on Alan's #1 hit, "It's 5 O'Clock Somewhere." Now, in that song, Alan Jackson asks the now famous line, "What would Jimmy Buffett do?" Well, that chart-topping duet went on to win the CMA Vocal Event of the Year in 2003, becoming one of the first awards Jimmy Buffett won in his career. Then later in 2004, Jimmy Buffett released his own country album called License to Chill, and on that album, he released his version of Hank Williams' "Hey Good Lookin'." But Jimmy didn't sing along, as he included Kenny Chesney, Alan Jackson, Toby Keith, Clint Black, and George Strait. And Jimmy also sang duets with each of those country stars on that same album. So it was no accident. In the early 2000s, Jimmy Buffett was intent on being a part of the country music community. But Rolling Stone goes back a little further to 2002, when they say Jimmy Buffett's most obvious impact on country music was seen when Kenny Chesney released his album, No Shirt, No Shoes, No Problems. It was this album that first introduced the island escapism that Jimmy was known for into country music. Before this album, Kenny was already on the rise, singing heartfelt songs like When I Close My Eyes and You Had Me From Hello. But with his No Shirt, No Shoes album, Kenny completely changed his image from country crooner to Caribbean cowboy and blasted off into the stratosphere of country music popularity, selling out stadium after stadium, summer after summer. And it was the huge success of Kenny Chesney's beach-bound music that brought us the summer sonnets we sing today, like Blake Shelton's Some Beach, Toby Keith's Stay in Mexico, Zac Brown Band's Toes, Dirk Bentley's Somewhere on a Beach, and on it goes. These sand-filled songs brought a whimsical, tropical feeling to country music that had never existed before. And Rolling Stone argues it was Jimmy Buffett and his entrance into the country music community in the early 2000s that brought us these songs. So it's no accident that Kenny Chesney told Rolling Stone this about Jimmy Buffett. He said, "Jimmy painted pictures and short stories in all the songs he wrote. He taught a lot of people about the poetry in just living, especially this kid from East Tennessee." So somehow, some way, whether it was intentional through a dedicated conversation or just a subconscious byproduct of Jimmy hanging around all these country music artists, the beach bum attitude made it into country music, and we still sing along to it one summer after the other. So what do you think? Was country music heavily influenced by Jimmy Buffett over the last 2 decades? I'd like to hear what you say, so be sure to comment. And until next video, y'all take care.